Alright, so today I'm going to be looking into the tutorials associated with Command. I'm going to start with the basic training for submarines, warships, and air, starting with submarines, mainly because this is definitely the hardest one, and it wouldn't surprise me if I don't succeed on this. But I'm going to post it anyway, if I fail. Alright, so let's load the scenario. So we're given a Virginia-class submarine, which is one of the best in the world, if not the best. So we're going to be placed in Hawaii. There are 4 phases. I already know what they are. I don't need to read that. So basically the phases are sub versus sub, sub versus ship plus helicopter, and sub versus land. And it's going to put me against a hand class submarine, which we just simply outclass hands down. It's telling me I could make a ASW patrol mission. Yeah, that's great. Sub versus ship. It's telling us that we can just go to that area, make an ASUW patrol in the mission editor to do it. I'm sure we could do just that. It's saying that at exercise C, we've got a Russian Udaloy with a KA-27 Helix ASW helicopter. So it's basically telling us that this helicopter here can kill us. I mean, it doesn't say it, but that's usually what seems to happen. Phase 4, sub versus land target, is a pretty one-sided fight. It's basically launch some tomahawks. Easiest thing in the world. Hard part is C, getting to it. So let's enter the scenario. Begin scenario. Alright, so we've got our USS North Carolina. I'm going to avoid cavitation, and I'm going to send it to here, which is as deep as possible and flank speed. Now, it won't reach flank speed because I selected avoid cavitation. Now notice these circles here. These circles, which are here, 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 and here, exist because we have a towed sonar array, which is a passive array, and these convergence zones are zones that we can detect things in. Generally speaking, you detect things midway through a convergence zone rather than in the convergence zone itself. That's at least my best understanding of it. However, as you'll see once we get to around here, it gets to be very shallow water. And the towed sonar array gets retracted in shallow water because it can't go deep enough. So, since we have the luxury of knowing that our enemy is in this area, so I'm going to just travel here at flank. So basically as fast as I can go, as deep as possible, but I do want to avoid cavitation. So when cavitation is possible, it will slow down. And we can speed this up because we already know what's going to happen. And we're going to get safely to our destination. Now, in a scenario where you're not sure of what's going on, you might not want to just do that. Alright, so we're going to slow down. The reason we're going to slow down is because we're facing an enemy sub. Now, subs are going to attempt to be quiet. Now, how do you... Oh, sorry, they're going to do two things. They're going to be quiet and they're going to listen. So, how are we going to stay undetected? By going slow. We make less noise that way. How are we going to listen? We're going to listen by being slow ourselves. So the slower you are, exponentially the more effective you'll be at sub versus sub and not being detected and not dying early. So we can speed this up for now. And there you see that our towed sonar array has retracted because of how shallow the water is here at less than 200 feet. And as a result, we're left with our hull sonar, which if we click here on the SSN 774 Virginia Flight 1, we can see that our hull sonar has a range of 70 nautical miles. So we have a chance of detecting targets within that range, especially if we resort to active pinging. However, we're not, so we may need to get a little bit closer. So we're going to go in at creep speed, and we are going to find this target. Speed it up just a little bit. Now, if we just stop, so I was sped up, so the submarine automatically detected the submarine with its ANBQQ10, which is its hull sonar here. And as a result of it detecting it, it classified it as hostile and fired torpedoes at it before I could even realize that it did so. Now, part of the reason that it did this without me realizing it is that I was at 15x speed. So when you're going fast, you can't react as quickly to a situation as if you were going slower. So that's why that happened. Now we are turning so that we are presenting the minimal profile to this enemy, and we've probably been detected, but we're close enough to them that we really don't want to present a larger profile, and we probably can't get away. Now, while we're waiting for these torpedoes to intercept, let's go and look at contact report here. So emissions is a big thing. If he was pinging, we would know it. And then also, if he was pinging, we would have potential matches here so that we could identify what we're looking at, or more specifically, what we've shot at. And spotted hosts here showing nothing. Now, if we look at these Mark 48s that we fired, we see right here a wire. This wire means that we are... Oh my, we've been shot at. Alright, so it's time for us to leave this area as quick as possible and as fast as possible. And let's target that torpedo And let's look at what we've got available. So we've got these sonar jammers. They may deploy. We've got torpedo countermeasures. They'll deploy automatically. We have torpedo decoys. And we've got more torpedo decoys. So these will deploy automatically. But we just want to get out of here. Anyway, what we were saying before is the Mark 48 torpedoes here, we could see, have this active sonar, torpedo seeker, 2 nautical miles in front of them, as reflected here. So this wire, what that means is that this submarine is still guiding these torpedoes to its target using its own sonar and sensors. Once they get to the target, then they can go and attack the target on their own. So you can see here, this wire is guiding them to this area. Once they go to this area, it's fully expected that this Mark 48 torpedo will go active and see this enemy submarine. Now, we need to get out of here quick because there's an enemy torpedo coming in on us. Again, part of the reason is we do not want to speed up in submarine warfare. Unfortunately, I'm sort of impatient, so that's just what happens. So now, if we run away, that may cut the wire between us and torpedoes. However, given the fact that this is now going to be spotted by the torpedo seeker on the Mark 48 torpedo here, it doesn't matter if we cut and run away because our torpedo's sensor is spotting this on its own, and in the event that our submarine breaks the wire, which it has, it doesn't matter. This torpedo already knows where it needs to go. Now, it's not available right this second, but it will ping and find its way again. We're not worried about that. So now if we click on the Mark 48 Mod 7 ADCAP CBASS, I don't know what that stands for. We can click here and we can see information about the torpedo. We can see its range. We can see how long it is. See its, well, I guess that's its fin span, not quite its wingspan. See the depth and altitude it can go to and its climb rate, or more accurately, descent rate. See how far its torpedo seeker goes. We can find information about the data linked to it, the wire. We can find its signatures, its footprint on a passive sonar and active sonar. Properties such as bearing only launch as possible, search pattern, which basically means if it gets to its destination doesn't find anything, it will search for something, and reattack capability. Additionally, it basically says what its warhead is, 650 pounds, and that will cause 270 damage points, which is Command's best estimate on how much damage this will do to an enemy. Valid targets, submarine surface ships, so aircraft need not fear it, but aircraft that land on ships will fear it. Speed. So it says how much fuel it will burn if it's going at cruise speed, how much fuel it will burn at flank speed, and how much fuel does it have, how long will it last for, and what platforms can fire this torpedo. In short, every US sub. It's a great torpedo, very dangerous, and it impacted on that Chinese hand. So assuming we survive this torpedo hit, which we should, I'm going to set us to go to the B2 area at flank speed. So we're going to select our submarine, flank, and we're going to go as deep as possible, flank, and we're going to get away from this torpedo which is currently in our blind spot. So it's either a matter of we're going to live or we're not, and we don't know at this point. I'm just going to guess we're going to live. I mean, if we die, then it doesn't matter what I guessed. Alright, so I'm going to speed it up just so we get there on time. And we see the submarine. I'm sorry, we see the enemy ship. So we're going to creep, and we're going to slow in. Shallow. So the reason that we're going to be going shallow and creep, again, we want to be as quiet as possible. And we want to be above the layer. So this is the layer ceiling right here. By being above the layer, that allows us to hear the enemy ship better. Now, since we know that this ship does not have a helicopter attached to it, we can get away with this because we're just relying on the fact that we're going to be quiet, we're going to creep in, we're going to get ourselves into a position where the ship should come to us, if possible, and then we're going to destroy it. So shallow makes sense. We're going to be above the layer and in an area where we can hear the enemy ship very well. It can hear us potentially as well, but we'll deal with that by shooting first. Contact report. Again, we don't see anything other than emissions. It had a medium frequency sonar, and it was pinging 17 minutes ago. So there is no reason to believe anything other than that there was something here a little while ago. Alright, so we picked it back up by getting closer. And we have identified it as a Type 052 Luhu class destroyer of the Chinese Navy. If we click on the Luhu, we know a lot more information about it. Now, some of this information will not apply to us in what we need to know today, but if we look at sonars, we see it's got a hull sonar, and we're going to learn a lot more information about that if we choose to. We also could know how many damage points it has, and its length, and everything else if we care. It's there. I'm not terribly concerned. But I am concerned, what torpedo systems does it have? I believe that's this YU-7. So if we go to weapon here, we look up YU-7, we can find the YU-7 torpedo. So remember before we said we had a 2 nautical mile active seeker. This has a 0.25 mile active seeker. It can target submarines. And its maximum range in an anti-sub role is 2 nautical miles. So if we detect this guy, we've got him dead to rights if we get close enough because our torpedoes fire from further away. So let's just speed this up. Let him ping all he wants. I could actually ping back. If he doesn't have a helicopter, he's just screwed. He's really screwed and just doesn't realize it. Or maybe he does. So if I wanted to know if this guy sees me or not, I could turn my course. Now, if he's plotting an intercept course, he will match my course change in order to intercept me. The fact that he hasn't means that he probably has not seen me. Now, we can get a little bit closer to him before we launch. If we were to fire now, our Mark 48 torpedo would have to travel 7.16 nautical miles. They travel 8 here, it says, but again, they probably travel further. It says it's got 32 minutes worth of fuel at 50 knots, so I'm going to go ahead and say that it will not run out of fuel if we just were to fire now. But the closer we get, the less likely he is to be able to break the lock on our sonar, and the less likely he is to get away. Now again, our torpedo can be guided to the target, and then 2 nautical miles out, its own sensor will take over and guide the torpedo in. The wire has a maximum range allegedly of 30 nautical miles. That sounds like a rather long wire, but they say so. So if we were to hit Shift F1, click, we can set up a manual firing solution on this. So we see the Woohoo, and we've got 3 torpedoes loaded in tubes. We're going to fire 2 of them. We're going to close. It'll take care of the rest of this, and it will guide the torpedoes, like I said before, to a point in which they should be able to see the enemy ship and take over. Let's speed this up. Now, this ship has seen the fact that there are torpedoes in the water. He is now cavitating while running away, so he is a very easy target to see. However, these torpedoes are going 65 knots. He's not outrunning them. Now, if I wanted to, because I was concerned with how fast these torpedoes were going and whether or not they'd catch up, I could slow a torpedo down to cruise. So this torpedo will go at 50 knots instead of 65 knots. This torpedo I haven't set, so it will continue to go on full. So this torpedo is more likely to run out of fuel than the other torpedo. However, it will get to its target sooner. Now I'm confident that that Woohoo is doomed, so I'm just going to go away at flank, which I wouldn't normally do, but since it's a tutorial that I've done before, I'll just let it do its thing. Now apparently as I did that, this torpedo here, the wire being broken, it doesn't know what to do. This torpedo is just going to go towards its last contact, and it will see the enemy surface ship again once it does. Now it detonated, and this one right here is going into the pattern. Remember, that's something that we saw before. Alright, so it's saying that it killed it. We already knew it did. We knew it would. So that submarine, I'm sorry, that surface ship running away, no way for it to do anything about that. Alright, so we're going to approach a surface ship that this time we're dealing with something that has an attack helicopter. So if we get spotted, instead of trying to close within 2 nautical miles or whatever the crappy torpedoes on the ship are capable of, what this is going to try to do is just send a helicopter to engage us. And it might even have a helicopter dropping sonar buoys, so we're going to go to creep speed. Now, just a disclaimer, I've died here far more often than I've succeeded. I have beaten this mission in the past, but I usually don't. So, what we just saw here was a helicopter probably landing or breaking contact from us, estimating to be somewhere around here, but if we looked, that box was huge. So The ship that it landed on or where it disappeared from could be anywhere in here. Fortunately, this tutorial tells us it's going to be in this area here, between these 4 sea zones. So let's keep on going through. Now remember one of the things I said before. At periscope depth, which came up in one of my live streams, which unfortunately was problematic with audio, so it was unusable. I had gone to periscope depth and immediately got discovered by an enemy. There we go. There's a contact. So we know a bogey is there. It's a helicopter. And it was using high-frequency sonar 1 minute and 17 seconds ago. But we're going to keep going through because we don't think we've been detected just yet. And we're going to slice right through this little tiny part of the patrol zone. What I was saying is I went up to periscope depth to see where a convoy was, only to find that there were a dozen helicopters about ready to close in on me to destroy me. Terrible idea. I should not have done that. So let's speed it up for now. Be ready to hit pause. Alright, so if this is our patrol route, we know that we don't gain anything by going any further this way. Now I could go up to shallow, but I am not willing to go any further to the surface than that. The reason being is that every foot I put closer to the surface, I will be more likely to be heard by a sonar system. So we see a skunk here. That is undoubtedly the Udaloi we are looking for. Not to be confused with the droids we are looking for. And we have now detected him as such. He is being detected by our ANTB-29, which is likely... Oh, it's our towed sonar array. Alright. And it tells us the distance is 14.3 nautical miles. So, we definitely need to close the distance. However, what we do not need to do is go straight to him. We could now tell his course. He is going this way. If he's going this way, he will come to us. We do not want to go to him. So, at the speed that he is going at, he will probably get to us. I'm assuming he's going to do this distance at the time that it takes for us to do this distance. It doesn't say his speed, but we're detecting him, and he probably doesn't detect us. Although, again, we can check. Does he detect us? We haven't seen or heard from him, so we're going to assume he does not see us. And the deeper we go, the less likely we are to be heard. However, we are less likely to hear him until we go to shallow. That's fine. We'll be going to shallow soon. Let's go up to shallow and stop. I want to be making as little noise as possible, and I'm reasonably certain that if he kept on his path, if he was going 14 or 12 to 14 miles an hour, he'd be in firing range and probably is not hearing very well. He, however, has clearly been slower at 5 knots, so we're going to continue to wait. Now, why am I facing him? The reason I'm facing him is because the front of our submarine is harder to ping on active radar. Or, sorry, active sonar. Active sonar. 30 decibels from the front, 200 from the side, 30 from the rear. However, the rear, you do have to keep in mind that the engine is running fast. That is going to be a huge disadvantage. So we're going to wait for him, but we're not going to do so at above the layer, or sorry, at shallow. Because if we are at shallow, we will definitely be detected first. And then a submarine will be scrambled. It's already unnerving at the fact that this guy is out here. So I am definitely glad that we're staying still if this guy is 9 miles away from us. Truth be told, it's unnerving he's out there, period. When helicopters are looking for you, there's just not a whole lot you can do about it. So all I can do at this point is hope that this surface ship comes into our range. So we saw him an hour ago, which means if he was going at 5 knots, he wouldn't be in our range just yet. Now I'm going to go below the layer if this helicopter gets too concerning. Him pinging and dropping off is fine. I don't mind that at all. I am actually going to chance it and go up. I'm going to say right now this is probably a bad idea, but I'm an inexperienced, and bad submarine captain. So I'm going to do it anyway. And we found our ship again. We don't know where he is. Oh, yes we do. And we see this bogey. So we're going to keep on going just under the layer and waiting. Because we do not like being detected. But I do feel that I need to go at some speed, so 1 mile an hour is probably not going to kill us. And what do we see coming into our range but a Noodle. So at his current course, he's going to be doing this. So the question is, do I want to attack him now or do I want to wait? It's not currently admitting. I don't know if I'll see him below the layer, but if I stop and go below the layer, I will probably drop off detection, which is fine. So I'm going to go about an hour. And I'm going to now go back to just over the layer. So now we've seen him again. And I now want to go back to 1 knot. Oh, he's going away from me now. Good. So I'm going to attempt to fire on him again. Now, the fact that I fired, I've made noise. So what I really want to do is get out of this area. So I'm going to decide to get out at 12 knots. This won't break the wire. I'll still be able to hear him. Hopefully he doesn't hear me, but he might. But if we see a helicopter, we're going to use the layer to our advantage, or at least we're going to try to. Alright, so we see a torpedo in on us. That's not good. So we're going to dive. And our submarine will probably go to flank. Hopefully these torpedoes will get to the target without guidance, because they're not going to get any more from us. This torpedo, we'll see if it hits us or not. We will do everything we can to avoid it. We're deep, we're fast, but unfortunately it looks like our torpedoes are probably going to miss. And we're going fast enough that... Alright, our torpedoes did manage to hit their target, so if we manage to get out of this helicopter's way, and we did, that was luck more than skill. I need to be clear about that. So now we can casually set a course for this target right here and engage it with tomahawk. So what it wants us to do is engage this target with tomahawks, and we can do that. So we've got TACTOMs, we've got TLAMs, we've got a medium building. So I'm just going to fire 2 tomahawks at it. Now we can plot a course wherever we'd like. So if we thought there were SAMs, we could avoid them. So let's just say we thought there was a SAM here. We could fire. Let's just say we thought the SAM was on this island. We could fire the tomahawk and stay clear of that island. Now, when you are firing a weapon with the intent of avoiding certain obstacles, you need to keep in mind the altitude that the weapon is going to be fired and traveling at, which in this case is 200 feet. The range that the munition can be fired at, which in this case is a maximum of 1,600 nautical miles, so we're just not concerned about that. And now we can find that at 200 feet, it at most is going to be 17 nautical miles away from this island, so we're just not worried about over the horizon intercepts. If there's anything on this island, it probably won't see it, but it might. It's possible. If we were concerned, what we could do is move this out and move this waypoint out, and it will then do a better job of avoiding. However, it will only do that for the selected munition, even if you select more than one. So if you select the other, it will still have the same profile it had before. So we're going to just let the two diverge off. We just don't think there's going to be anything here because, spoiler alert, I've done this tutorial before, but we're about to finish it. So one tomahawk did it, the second one will impact on dead building. So we got through. Our final score is 4. We destroyed all 4 targets. We destroyed a hand, which fired back at us. I shouldn't have been that careless. We killed a Luhu, which didn't know anything until it was too late. And we got really, really, really lucky and managed to avoid 2 torpedoes fired by a KA-27 Helix. And we destroyed that Udaloy. And then we destroyed the building. Alright, I hope this was informative to somebody. And I will see you again next time. If you like this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will post more content as soon as I can. Alright, thanks and have a good day.